In this video, we are going to apply properties of trapezoids that we learned earlier to help us solve some algebraic problems. In this first problem, I have trapezoid ABCD, and I know that AC is equal to 2z plus 9, and BD equals 4z minus 3. Now I also noticed looking at my picture that the two legs are congruent to each other, which means that it is an isosceles trapezoid. Because it's isosceles, I know that the diagonals are congruent. This is a symbol for therefore. So because the diagonals are congruent, I can say that 2z plus 9 equals 4z minus 3. And then we can just solve this equation. I subtract 2z on both sides, and we get 9 equals 2z minus 3. I add 3 on both sides, and we divide by 2 to get that z is 6. So here we used our properties that the diagonals are congruent, set up an equation, and solved it. In our second problem, we also have an isosceles trapezoid because the two legs are congruent. And they are asking us to find measure of angle J. Well, because it's isosceles, I know that the base angles are congruent. Therefore, this angle right here is also 124 degrees because angle K and angle L are congruent to each other. We also know that the same side angles are supplementary. Therefore, I know that 180 minus 124 is going to equal the measure of angle J. 180 minus 124 is 56 degrees. So we were able to do this because it's isosceles, so we knew L and K were congruent. If we did not know that those two sides were congruent to each other, we would not be able to know anything about those angles K and angle J unless we, except for the fact that they are supplementary to each other. So they're always supplementary, but they are not always congruent to the other side. And our last one, we have to find xy. And remember that this, because there's no segment symbol on the top, they're asking us to find the length. And if we look at our picture, we know that one base is 15 and one base is 6. And then we have this line xy drawn through the middle. We notice that these two parts are congruent and these two parts are congruent. So we know that that is the midsegment. We also know that the midsegment equals the average of the bases. And we know how to take an average as you add them up and divide by the number that you have. So I know that xy is going to equal 15 plus 6 divided by 2. So xy equals 21 over 2. And we're just going to leave it as a fraction because that is an exact value. And we're done. I want you to remember that you could have a value here. For example, maybe we knew that xy was 10. And then you would do this equation if we didn't know one of the bases. And this is just an equation that you can solve. So this would be for a different problem. But I want to show you that you can do the same thing. Thank you very much.